The musclehead main lead of Black Clover, Asta, has seriously leveled up throughout the series. Starting as a magicless brat, the young wizard can now stand alongside the legendary Magic Knight captains and even the Wizard King himself. Perhaps his well-known goal of taking the position for himself isn't too far off. But that's not what we're here to discuss. Instead, today we'll be taking a look at just how powerful Asta is and where that places him among the stronger characters that inhabit the world of Black Clover. 5-leaf grimoire and swords? Now, to truly grasp how powerful Asta is at his current stage, we'll have to take a look at, well, just about everything up until then. Which means we'll be starting from the very beginning, back when he first obtained his strange 5-leaf clover. We all know the story. A boy who has no magic obtains a bizarre 5-leaf clover grimoire and gains powers unlike any other. The outline of it is all fairly simple, but when you look into the details, things start to get interesting. In the Clover Kingdom, a typical grimoire has a signature 3-leaf clover on the front cover. The 3 leaves each symbolize a certain virtue. There's faith, hope, and love. Most wizards within the kingdom possess this type of grimoire. However, there is a rare chance of someone obtaining a 4-leaf clover grimoire, as seen with Yuno. The 4th leaf is meant to symbolize good luck. And when we say it's rare to obtain such a grimoire, we mean it. From what we currently know, only 3 people have possessed a 4-leaf clover grimoire: the first Wizard King, Licht, and Yuno. This brings us to Asta's unique grimoire, the 5-leaf clover, a cursed spellbook that is said to hold a devil within. With his 5-leaf grimoire, Asta can now pursue his path to becoming a Magic Knight, which is pretty much all he cares for. But let's take a look at what he gained through this irregular power source. Long ago, the grimoire Asta currently wields belonged to none other than the elves' leader, Licht. Now, you may be wondering, don't grimoires crumble to dust after their owner's death? That is usually the case, but things are different with a corrupted grimoire like Licht's. You see, after the vicious elf massacre, as per the devil Zagred's planning, Licht was the sole survivor of his race. Witnessing the death of his people and faced with the likelihood that it was a friend, Lemuel Silvermillion Clover, who had betrayed them, the elf's 4-leaf clover grimoire became corrupted, transforming into the frightening 5-leaf grimoire. Thankfully, before Zagred's plans could be fulfilled, Licht realized Lemuel wasn't the one behind the massacre at all, and ended up giving up his life so that the devil could never obtain his body. 5 centuries later, after being found by Asta's mother and having her foster son Libe sealed inside of it, the cursed grimoire managed to find its way into Asta's hands. Now imbued with anti-magic, thanks to Libe and his extreme hatred of his fellow devils, the two have become one of, if not the, most powerful asset the Clover Kingdom has. Using Licht's leftover swords, which are now also infused with anti-magic, Asta can pretty much take on any enemy no matter their fighting style, magic, or special abilities. Each of his 4 anti-magic swords serves their own purpose and are very powerful when used correctly. But before we get into that, be sure to subscribe to the channel with notifications on to never miss an upload, and smash that like button for some plot armor today. The first sword, Demon Slayer Sword, has the ability to nullify spells and be enlarged by extending anti-magic along the edge of the blade. We've also seen Asta use the flat side of his sword to deflect magical attacks, using it almost like a baseball bat. After undergoing the Heart Kingdom's 6 months of training, our hero is also able to summon the sword by calling out its name, and even ride on the flat end of the sword like a surfboard. Although Demon Slayer usually gets the job done, Asta needs a sword that can be used from afar. Lucky for him, he has the Demon Dweller sword. The second sword within his grimoire, Demon Dweller, can release slashes of anti-magic for long to mid-range combat. Aside from the sword's original wielder Licht, only Asta can wield this sword due to its unique nature. One of its hidden tricks is that it drains the mana of anyone who touches it or attempts to use it. Seeing as how our boy Asta has no magic, this sword is perfect for him. Interestingly, he can use this feature in battle by absorbing magic and sending it back out with a slash. Although all his swords are quite useful in battle, in my opinion, the mage's most useful anti-magic weapon is the Demon Destroyer sword. Much like all the other swords, Demon Destroyer is an anti-magic blade, but with a unique twist. It possesses an ability called Casualty Break that allows Asta to absorb and remove the effects of spells that have already been cast. Unlike the other anti-magic weapons, this sword can negate magic spells that have already been completed, like magical poison and even the elves' reincarnation magic. And finally, the last of his swords, for now, is the Demon Slasher Katana. A more recent addition to Asta's collection of swords, this katana actually comes as a sort of gift from Captain Yami. While fighting Dante's Ogratis, Yami lends his signature katana over to the wizard, only for him to coat the blade in anti-magic, giving it the darkest, rustiest look of all of Asta's weapons. Something Yami is not happy to see upon his return. Nonetheless, Asta is able to deal quite a bit of damage with Demon Slasher, and its special abilities make it one of the much more unique weapons at Asta's disposal. Now a part of Asta's grimoire, the katana has the ability of selective cutting. Wanting to protect those he loves while also wanting to cut through the evils that stand in his way is what manifests this strange ability onto the katana. As you can probably guess by now, Demon Slasher will only do damage to the intended target without posing any danger to those Asta wishes to protect. I bet Zenon would have loved an ability like this, huh? Antimagic and Forms. Of course, all of Asta's swords are pretty powerful and come with their own abilities, but it's safe to say the swords get extra dangerous thanks to the anti-magic flowing through them. Without Libe's anti-magic, the swords would just be rusty hunks of metal, something both Asta and Libe know. But thanks to the duo's contract of equals, they are now one fighting force, with Libe supplying his host as much anti-magic needed for the two of them to reach their goal. After all, Asta hopes to become the Wizard King, and Libe wants to kill all devils. Of course, the two weren't always so clear with each other. I mean, Asta didn't even know he was using a devil's power. But after establishing their contract and coming face to face, the two pseudo-brothers have only grown in strength. Mostly thanks to their latest and by far most powerful form, Devil Union. With this form, Asta is pretty much at his strongest, though at first he's only able to use it for 5 minutes. On top of the duo needing to wait for a whole half hour before they can use the form again, it seems that after the Spade Kingdom arc, they have managed to find a way to stretch this time to about 10 minutes. Asta has achieved this boost by concentrating Union on one specific part of his body, making the magic more dense and powerful instead of unnecessarily spreading it across his body and wasting it. In the original Union form, Asta has a pair of devilish black wings and horns, alongside a full black armor that just shouts devil. I mean, with the spiked shoulders and knees, plus the claws, it really lives up to the name Devil Union. The duo's newly adjusted Devil Union mode is much less flashy, but perhaps to some, much better looking. Keeping the horns and wings, Asta drops the black armor, and instead appears in his usual attire, while also limiting the amount of anti-magic he releases to a minimum. This form is a lot sleeker and frees Asta up from all of that heavier-looking armor that came with the original form. What's next? Considering Devil Union is the supposed highest level of power Asta can achieve, after getting completely obliterated while using it, a new question arises. What's next? Devil Union alone wasn't nearly powerful enough to take on Lucius and his paladins, which means Asta's going to need an upgrade if he wants to take down the new enemies. Luckily for him, he has all the time to do that while he figures out where on Earth he is and how to get back to the Clover Kingdom. With Chapter 337, the series confirms that Asta has somehow ended up in the Land of the Sun, Hino country. There's a lot to look forward to in terms of his next level up. As Black Clover's newest character Ryuto Ryuya says, Asta's come all this way, so he might as well get his power up right here, right now. Seeing as how this new country we've been introduced to is very obviously based on feudal Japan, I believe we'll be seeing our hero in a new light as he brushes up on his swordplay. Up until now, anti-magic has been able to get the job done, but as shown with Lucifera and Lucius, it isn't very useful against physical attacks. Asta's already recognized this fact and has begun training on his own. But perhaps a little help from the shogun of this strange new land and the 7 Ryusen will allow him to surpass his limits. After all, from what we can tell so far, those in the Land of the Sun seem to rely heavily on swords, specifically katanas, something Captain Yami has demonstrated on multiple occasions. And now this has only been further confirmed by the citizens of this land who are shown to be carrying katanas at their sides. After spending some time training alongside Captain Yami's sister Ichika and the others, I suspect that Asta may gain another sword to add to his inventory, one specifically made for him by a blacksmith of his place, or maybe even someone equivalent to the Clover Kingdom's magic knights. A sword attuned to his measurements and fighting style could go a long way in improving Asta's swordsmanship. And I just know it would make Yami more than jealous upon Asta's return. Another aspect Asta will most likely train while in the Land of the Sun is his ki control. Keep in mind, Asta's learned everything he knows so far about ki from Yami. The leader of the Black Bulls started out as a delinquent who preferred to use his fists rather than training, and ended up getting stranded away from the country at the young age of 13. With all that said, I'd say it's more than fair to believe that Yami only knows the basics surrounding ki, leaving Asta with much to learn. Ichika's use of ki against the bandit group was a whole new sort of application we had never seen before. While Asta's swordsmanship and ki would most likely improve while under the wing of those in the Land of the Sun, I don't believe his power or relationship with Libe would change much, especially seeing as how Devil Union is supposed to be their ultimate form. However, with that in mind, Ryodou does know what devils are, something that genuinely shocks Asta, so perhaps there is something to be discovered devil-wise from his new mentors. Maybe by using ki, the devil and human duo can reach a brand new level unbeknownst even to Nacht, the Clover Kingdom's resident devil expert. Ranking. Although only ranked officially as a senior magic knight, Asta is able to stand toe-to-toe against pretty much any of the enemies within the world of Black Clover. Without a doubt, Asta's anti-magic makes him the kingdom's most valuable asset. But where does he rank compared to his allies? His official ranking puts him at the same level as someone like, say, Langris Vod, but in reality, he's leaning more towards the strength of a captain. As stated by Captain Wegeleon, if he were to be assessed fairly, Asta should be at the same rank as his rival Yuno, a Grand Magic Knight, the ranking right below the title of Wizard King. It's fair to assume that, in his current state, Asta has long surpassed the other knights within the Magic Knights, leaving him closer to the strength of a captain. I mean, he fought alongside them against Lucifero, and was even the key to winning that battle, while the others' attacks proved useless. The only other knight that was able to prove himself truly useful in the battle against the King of all Devils was Yuno, who only recently unlocked his star magic. Although this battle made it look like the two childhood rivals were more powerful than the Clover Knights' captains, it should be noted that these were under very specific circumstances, and against a villain that could only be taken down thanks to Asta's anti-magic. With that considered, I believe that Asta lands, strength-wise, right next to Yuno, and just below some of the more powerful captains. These would be Nozel, Fuegoleon, Yami, and William. Due to the wisdom that comes with age and the years of experience each of these captains brings with them, I would rank them higher than the two powerhouses. But with time, that could change, especially with everyone in a rush to prepare for the final battle. And of course, above the captains is the man Asta and Yuno both strive to become, but now also defeat, Lucius Julius, the Wizard King. No matter his ranking, Asta has a lot of space to grow before he can even dream about defeating Lucius. I mean, the last fight did go pretty badly. Even Asta's new pal, the Shogun of the Land of the Sun, knows that the boy will be defeated if he returns as he is. After some intense training in this brand new land, it will definitely be exciting to see Asta surpass his current limits and return from his so-called death even more powerful. But tell us what you think is next for Asta, and how you would rank him compared to the other Magic Knights currently on the force. Let us know what you think in the comments section below. This has been Alexandra Macedo, and I'll catch you all in the next video.